Hello everyone, I am here at GAMA 2019 with the prestigious winner of the Power Retailer Award for 2019. This is Brenda, who is a co-owner of Night Watch Games in San Antonio, Texas. And we are going to get all of the secrets to your success in this video so that retailers around the country can hopefully benefit from what you've learned and experienced. So Brenda, tell me a little bit about how, I love the stories of how somebody becomes the owner of a game store. Right? What's your total journey looked like?
Well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah. I don't know if that's worth it. Then maybe I'll go to the next question.
You have your own story, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Ours is a little bit different. Porrick, my husband, who is the co-owner of Night Watch Games, started as a gamer very young. Mm-hmm. And it was always a pipe dream to own a game store. We got married while he was in the military, and he did that job, and I did various jobs. As you may know, the military moves you around a lot. Mm-hmm. So I quit my career as a restaurant manager back in San Antonio, Texas, and just did various things. Worked from home, took on little jobs, went to college, just kept myself busy.
Yeah.
And then we found ourselves at a new duty station, which was Germany, Wiesbaden, Germany, and they immediately deployed him to Africa. And once again, we were apart, which was very common. I think the military has a radar.
Yeah.
And if you either have a child or just get married or have somebody very ill in your family,
now's the time.
You're deploying. So we were spending a lot of time apart and had only been married a very short time. So one day we were Skyping, and he was in Africa, and it was about 120 degrees, and it was snowing where I was. And I said, I think I'm done. Let's use our collective education and experience and go do something else. And he said, okay, that sounds good. We've done our time. We've served. So we started thinking, and we also have 2 dogs, which are our children.
Yeah.
So people call them fur babies because,
sure,
of course, they're our kids. And we wanted to do something where we could all be together. They're pack animals, we're pack animals.
Yeah.
And so we came up, I suggested actually the idea of the game store. And he said, no, that's a pipe dream. Remember, we can't do that. I said,
can't do your dreams.
Anything we want. Anything we want, we can do it.
Yeah.
We are educated. We are smart. We are thrifty. We have money in the bank. We have no debt. And we have no children.
Yeah, right.
We are not tied down to any place or anything, and let's just make it happen. And because of my business experience, I knew about organizations like the Small Business Association, the SBA, mm-hmm. who give business loans to high-risk people. High risk, not because our credit was bad, but because we had never owned a store before.
Right.
So we went that approach, and we did try to go through the channels of the military because they offer programs that help people become entrepreneurs. But those programs really cater to the person that has no experience. And with the experience that I was able to bring from being a restaurant manager, it was a no-brainer, and we were able to just sort of speed through that process.
Okay. Yeah.
So we did that, and we got the loan, and we used our everything. We used everything, our savings, anything that we could use as equity, our furniture, our own personal games, our magic collection, all became equity, and that's where we began.
So you went for it. Wow.
We just went all in.
And you basically took a lot of risk.
Yes.
Cashed everything in.
Mm-hmm.
You had the experience, and you had kind of the grit to do it. How did you approach it at first? So did you have an idea of the game store that you wanted to create? And what was that vision for you?
And that was Porrick. That was a lot of experience. You're familiar, I'm sure, with Malcolm Gladwell.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Wrote The Tipping Point. Also wrote a book called Outliers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever read that one. But the thesis of the book really is that while talent and dedication are essential to success, that there are other components that are necessary as well, and that is early advantage,
sure.
and sometimes even your social standing.
Sure.
And Porrick and I are really good examples of both of those things. So we have the talent, natural talent, mm-hmm. organization, natural gamer.
Sure.
We have the dedication. We're willing to put in long hours. And then the early advantage might not sound like an advantage, but I lost my father at a very early age. And because of the situation, I needed to go to work to help support myself and my family.
Yeah.
So I became a manager of a store at 18. So instantly went from having no education, but a really impressive resume. Mm-hmm. Porrick was the example of the other. In his social economic standing where he grew up, he was fortunate enough to be able to not have to work and focus on development.
Okay.
A lot through games, through extensive education. He is a master's.
Yeah.
And so we were on the opposite sides of that advantage, but both were able to gain a lot of experience through those two things. So the outlier book, for example, the Beatles. Okay, so they started out as just a young band over in Europe. They stunk at first. You know, they weren't the Beatles over there, and they couldn't get gigs, and they couldn't make it big in America. So they picked up a job in Hamburg, in Germany, at a little disco, and the manager said, "You're the act every night." And he said, "That's the deal. You have to be the act every single night, so you're working 7 days a week." And because they were working 7 days a week, thus the song 8 days a week.
Little experience starts to tick in there.
What Malcolm Gladwell says is the necessary 10,000 hours of experience to be exceptional, to be successful. So I got my 10,000 hours working at Bill Miller Barbecue as a restaurant manager in San Antonio. Pork got his 10,000 hours playing games. So between the two of us, we bring this sort of perfect yin-yang to our business.
It sounds ideal. Yeah, it sounds like everyone in the country who's thinking about starting a retail environment should probably try to find that perfect balance between those two. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you came in on the management side of it more. So you're looking at the dollars and cents. You're looking at the stock sheets. You're looking at how can we make all of this a reality. And then your husband's looking at how can we make this an awesome place to be?
Right. He is in charge of the brand.
Right.
So he was the decorator. And if you've taken a second to look at the pictures online, it's an impressive store visually. The ambiance that's created is evident. And then the moment you walk in the store, the vibe is there, just like you were walking Cheers in Boston. Yeah. And everybody yells, "Nome!" You know, but there it's board games instead of beer. Yeah.
So was this kind of an immediate success for you? Or, those first months, was there a lot of, I don't know if this is going to happen?
No, it was immediate. And I think it's evident why. And that is that traditional game stores rent the place they can afford, and they fill it with the cheapest possible tables and chairs. And then they say, "Come support me." And we decided to do it the other way around. We got a huge business loan, invested everything we had, and made this luxurious, immersive, beautiful place that would immediately endear our customers to us. And then we said, "Support me." And it was a no-brainer. So yes, the recognition of that was immediate. What was funny is we, of course, moved to San Antonio a few months before we actually opened our doors because we had to find a location and do all the legwork. And we were, in the meantime, not doing poaching by any means, but doing our recon. We were getting to know the communities, making sure that the people that were in the communities of the games that we knew, like X-Wing, were people that we actually wanted in our store. So we were just doing that kind of recon, and eventually the subject came up that, yes, indeed, we are the people that are opening Night Watch games. So there was a lot of buzz, and more than one person shared with us that gamers don't need ambiance. All we need are plastic tables and plastic chairs, and we don't need all that other stuff. Well, you don't know what you need if you've never been offered it. And they fell in love with the place. And those same people came back to say, "You did it. You knocked it out of the park. You're right. It is very nice here. And it makes us want to play here. And of course, we pay where we play. So you have our business now."
That's sort of that old Henry Ford quote where, like, if you would have asked somebody what they needed at the time, they would have said a faster horse, right, rather than the Model T. So that's incredible. So you took a chance. You did what I think is the future of hobby retail like this. Got to be environmental, got to be atmospheric, and it has to be an actual expression of a brand and an idea rather than just a "here I am, now come support me"
That's right.
Vibe. Were there any challenges along that path? I know that clearly you got through them, but what kind of roadblocks did you kind of run into along the way?
I think those were different for each Pork and I. I think the roadblocks for me were just typical stuff like cash flow, having to manage that. At one point, we reached out to our customers, and I said, it's a scary month. And I know other stores in this city that have shut down, and we all said the same thing. If they had just asked their customers to just, "Hey, come buy a gift for somebody here this month. Come pick up the order that we're holding for you this month. We just need a little push." And that was our best month ever. We reached out to our customers and we said, this is humiliating, sorry. And it only has happened to happen one time and it probably will never happen again. But so, cash flow is definitely a real issue. And then finding time to play the games that you're stocking so that you have that product knowledge is a challenge. So those were my challenges, I think. Otherwise, it comes easy to me. I'm just one of those fortunate people that organization and hard work are just my mode. So I enjoy what I do. In fact, I have to constantly tell my customers, stop busting on Porrick because he plays more games than me. I'm happy. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. And we have our lanes, and his lane is in the front, and my lane is in the back. If this were a restaurant, he would be the concierge, and I would be the head chef. Not the concierge, the sommelier. He would be out talking to you and serving wine, and I would be in the back sweating and slaving, but I'm happy. But to get back to your question, I think Porrick's challenges have been very different, and his are emotional challenges. He is, as I said at the awards ceremony the other night, he's sensitive. He's the clouds in the dirt. And if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, you know that. I don't have to go into anymore. But he is definitely the sensitive, the romantic. He's a poet. He's very in tune with people. And because of that, he opens himself up. He makes himself vulnerable. And to him, every single relationship in our store is a relationship that is a personal one. It's not just, hey, you're my customer. Can I help you? Do you need anything? Okay, well, have a great day. It's, hey, man, what are you playing? What's going on with you right now? But in turn, he'll take care of your feelings, but he wants you to take care of his too. And generally ask what's going on with him. Genuinely ask what's going on with him. And there have been some disappointments. And it's because I think that people aren't used to hugging their FLGS manager or owner. I actually went to PAX South and helped out the folks from Dice Throne, Mind Bottling Games, Manny and Nate, who made Dice Throne, which, by the way, was my favorite game ever.
Great.
So because I loved it so much and just fell in love with them, we worked their entire show. And after the first year, I was just a volunteer. They came up and they were like, who are you again? And why is everyone hugging you? Like, I've never hugged a game store owner in my life. But we just run a different op,
And there's certainly something to be said for being that focused on the experience in the moment, right? Are you having a good time? Is there anything that I can do for you or that can make your life better? And one of the things that certainly we've found too is this. And I'm sure you've seen this, and especially with the scenario that you've just mentioned, the space on the table that holds the game is like a part of it, but that leads to so much more of a connection that goes on between people who genuinely becomes concerned about each other's lives, kids, families, how are you doing today? Are you having a down day? Are you doing okay? And that can be, that's a very vulnerable position a lot of the time. And it stems from the hobby being so good at actually connecting people on a level that a lot of times is not expected or even like predicted, right? And so it's like kind of striking. It's like, wow, I have a really genuine connection with these people, and I maybe wasn't expecting that when I walked in the door of your store, right? So if you're a retailer watching this, what are some things from your side of the business that you would say maybe common pitfalls or things that you could give advice on for how best to do the management side of the business?
So are we talking the management of people or the management of the business?
Of the business.
Okay, of the business, organization is really what it comes down to. And you're going to have to work your butt off. And if you can't, or if you won't, or if you've kept your day job and you're not doing this whole hog, find a way to dedicate yourself wholly to this, because this is your dream. And somebody else can't make your dream happen. Somebody else can't raise your child for you. That means somebody else can't love your store the way you love it. And they're not going to make decisions out of love. They're going to make decisions as humans. And humans are selfish by nature, which is okay sometimes. It's not always a bad thing. But I would say that. I would say take responsibility for it yourself. There are things you can delegate and things you cannot.
And of those things that you think are most relevant to kind of focus on, what would you say are like the top things to pay attention to? Because we've seen a lot of people come into the business and they're not paying attention to their particular cash flow, or maybe I pre-sold 30 copies of a thing that I didn't know that I could get, those kinds of things. Anything on that front that you've learned kind of over time has really led to the success of your store?
Well, I'd say it all starts with your brand. Okay, so it's like saying, I am going to drive a truck. I want to drive a truck. I am going to drive a truck. Now I just have to choose which trucks I want in my garage.
Right.
So same thing with your game store. Find your brand. Night Watch, for instance, we cater to adults. Not adult content by any means, but we do not carry family games. We do not carry children's games.
Sure.
We carry plenty of games that children can play, but we do not carry children's games. We do not carry toys. We focus on board games and tabletop games, so we don't sell manga or comics or pop dolls or any of those things. Our store is focused. That's our brand.
Yeah.
So now that you've got your brand, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Be focused.
Right.
That's a military thing. Stay in your lane. Be focused and concentrate on what products you should be carrying that fit your brand, all the way from those little pens that are the impulse buys and the latest thing right now. Everybody should be carrying pens.
Right.
They're awesome, and you can get them. Call me. Let me tell you where you can get them super cheap. Anyway, all the way to the board games and the high ticket items.
Yeah.
And then within that, your cash flow, again, it's just organization. Put up a Post-it note on your wall that says, on the 1st of each month, I have to pay this much in rent and this. On the 15th of each month, my loan comes out of my checking account and my payroll comes out. On the 31st of each month, I have to pay back my dad the $50 I owe him, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just have it in front of your face so that when you're about to place an order and you're like, okay, here's what I have in my account, here's what I have, here's what I owe. Oh, but what else is coming down the pipe? Ooh, I can't order that just yet. And you notice I say, look in your account. And here's the big one. If you don't have the money to buy it, don't buy it. Don't put it on a credit card.
Right.
My goodness.
Right, yeah.
Pay with cash, people.
Yeah.
Get yourself out of that debt, and it's going to be hard, but stop using credit cards.
Right. I the brand thing strikes me in particular. It's a personal interest of mine, and it can be very hard, especially for new retailers, to turn down what look like really good opportunities that are outside of their brand, right? Like the pop dolls and things you're talking about. Customer comes in and says, hey, do you sell this? If you do, I would buy them right now. Very tempting to say, oh, well, I'll slide a little bit. I'll maybe pull in some things that don't quite fit, but, the customers are asking for them. So is that a concrete idea that you should never really give in to that? These customers want it, but my brand doesn't support it. So is there a middle ground there, or do you always just kind of say, this just isn't what we're about?
No, the middle ground is when they say, hey, I would like to order this pop, or I would like this pop doll. Where are your pop dolls? And my answer is, do you trust me? They say, yes. I say, I will have that for you by Friday. It is going to be the same price that you would buy it online. I never pass on shipping to my customers. That's the cost of doing business. I will never do that to you. And we have a loyalty program. The only thing I'm going to ask is that since we don't carry it, you go ahead and pay for it up front, get your loyalty star, and then I promise it will be here on Friday.
Nice.
And not only do I promise that, I freaking follow through. I make sure.
Who knew that was a part of this? I don't understand.
That's everything. Follow through is everything. It's everything in management of people. It's everything in ordering. It's everything in your cleaning crew. You follow through.
You have to actually do it.
Yes, my guy comes in and he says, okay, I'm done with the opening duties. I'm like, you think you're done. Let's go do the Brenda test.
Let me go check. Yeah, absolutely. So, and there's an element of high standards here too, right? I mean, I'm getting that sense that it's not a friends, hey, we're all friends here kind of thing. It's like we have a job to do, right? We have something that we need to accomplish, and if you're not accomplishing it, that's a real problem.
Well, you hit on it earlier, and what you're talking about now is, where is the industry going? Where is the game store model going? Because it can't be static. And we have the old model, which is the man cave, right?
Right.
And then we have newer models like our store, which is the boutique store.
Sure.
Okay, and that doesn't mean it's more expensive, because as a matter of fact, we are one of the few stores that sell magic packs at MSRP in our city. Because they can sell them for more. They can sell them for $4.25. So they do. But that's our promise to our customers. Even when Gloomhaven is sold out everywhere else, and we have 4 copies of it. We are not going to put it on eBay. We are going to sell it to you at MSRP. You're going to get your loyalty star. You're going to get your military discount that we offer, or a first responder discount. You're going to get all that, and you're going to walk home with Gloomhaven, because I followed through. And I made sure that a game that is getting that much hype is 4 deep in my shelf and not 1.
Yeah. So let's. Do you guys offer any like refreshments, snacks, beverages, anything like that?
So that's something we're working on right now.
Okay.
Up until a couple of weeks ago, we had vending machines in the store. And our plan was to create a snack bar, if you will. We're going to call it the Scullery, because everything in our store is thematic. We have the Grand Hall, we have the Dark Ages room, the Renaissance room, the Armory. So that will be the Scullery. And we've had a little hiccup with the health department because we bring our dogs to work.
I've been there before,
But we're working on it.
I understand that.
Yeah,
completely.
we're being diligent. We sent them an email the other day and we said, have you given up on this project? And that gets an answer back from everybody.
That's really nice.
Because you're not saying, hey, answer me. And you're not saying, why are you ignoring me? I'm the victim. You're saying, have you given up? And as soon as they answer you back, yeah, I've given up. That's my green light. Great, now I can start negotiating. When you tell me that you have a firm no, thank you. Thank you for telling me where you start. And now I know where to start with you.
Yeah.
And no one's going to say, yes, I've given up on you.
Yeah, right?
They're going to say, well. And then when they say, well, I say, okay, look, I know what your concerns are. Your concerns are X, Y, Z. Let's talk about how we can fix it. Everything's negotiation.
Yeah.
There's a book that is, I can't remember the author at the moment, but it is Never Split the Difference.
Okay.
And it's a book about negotiation. And, you never say, well, I'll give you this if you give me that. You get what you want. And if the answer is no, that's fine. Go find somebody that will give you what you want.
Sure.
It's a little different with the health department.
a little tough. And I understand you have a really interesting demo section of your store for games, right?
Yes.
So tell us how that works.
So we started out, I have to give props to a local, it's called Geek Out SA, and they were a couple, Vince and Colleen, and they were very, very generous in the beginning to let us use their board game library. They let it live at our store because we didn't have any, and we didn't have the cash flow really to get that started at first. And eventually our own library sort of outgrew theirs. And we also discovered what is our brand going to be when it comes to our demo library. Our brand is going to be the latest and greatest. Their brand for their game library were the classics.
The best, right? The best of all time.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
The evergreens. So called them up. They said, okay, great. We'll let our library live somewhere else for now. And ours eventually took over. Yeah. So now we have 200 of the latest and greatest.
Wow.
One cool thing about our library, it is, and it's expensive. I mean, I'm not going to lie, and sometimes demo games aren't offered, so we got to crack a retail copy. But that is us investing in you. So a Gary V-ism here, a Gary Vaynerchuk, if the listeners don't know who he is.
Sure.
Look him up, he's awesome. One of his famous books is Jab, 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 Right Hook. That is actually the name of the book. So the jab is the give. It is the worth that I'm offering to you as my customer. So you jab again, and then the right hook, or left hook in this case.
You don't lead with sales, right?
You don't lead
buy my
with,
stuff.
buy this from me. So jab, we are offering a beautiful place for you. Jab, if you have a problem, we're here to help you fix it. Whether your problem is, I need a game, or I'm lonely, or can you show me how to play this, or I'm just killing time on my lunch break, we can fix it. We can help you with that problem. Jab. And then another jab, board game library. Come in and try it before you buy it.
Yeah.
Right hook. When you're ready to buy this game, and I'm not going to pressure you by any means, please buy it from us and not on Amazon. Yeah. Don't let me see you walk in here with an Amazon box.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Yeah, fair enough.
So when you buy it from us. So the board game library, about 200 games, the latest and greatest. I picked up a few today that are going to go right onto the board game library. And then it evolves. And the games live there for a year, 2 years sometimes. And as they come out, we try to sort of pay it back to our time in the military, and we gather up any games that our customers want to donate and that we're ready to get rid of, and we send them downrange to Afghanistan or Iraq or any of the major deployment zones so that the soldiers have something to do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because they don't get a day off. They work, and then they have a few hours, and then they work, and they have a few hours. And there's a saying in the military that you either come back a chunk or a hunk.
Yeah.
So you either spend all your time working out or all your time playing games. Video games are pretty popular, as you can imagine, but we like to send role-playing games down there, board games, Euros, give them something else to do.
That's fantastic.
While they eat ice cream.
That's truly amazing. Yeah. So last thing I'll ask you, it's kind of an ongoing GAMA conversation, and there's been a couple of panels on this as well. It's just kind of looking at, I feel like the industry has matured. How long has the store been open?
2.5 years.
Okay, so you're at the point where you're not quite a veteran, but you're not a newbie either, right? You're not like kind of new to this. So all of this discussion is happening about how the industry is really, really shifting. And I think as somebody who's tuned to this, which you clearly are from talking to you, you've got your eye on that, right? Things are moving, store models are changing, perceptions about the industry and about tabletop games are shifting. We have shows on YouTube like Tabletop that are happening. A lot of really good content is coming out for games. That isn't just somebody with like a cell phone camera, right? A lot of really good things are happening. But throughout all of this, the fundamentals of the industry still feel like they need to change as well. Like there's some shifting and some innovating that is happening and that needs to continue happening. One example is Kickstarter. It's an obvious thing. Another is direct sales from publishers are more possible than ever because of e-commerce being so much easier. But then we still have the publisher, distributor, retailer, customer kind of chain of command. And I presume you still order from
all of them.
From distributors as well. So the question I have for you is, as a retailer, is there anything that you can think of that would make your life easier from distribution or from publishing to help you be more successful?
Well, I think it is something that they should actually do for themselves that will help us all. And I think Golden Distribution has it right. They have a war box. So it is a pre-order system that locks in. And the only way to unlock it and make any kind of adjustment is to call your distributor, your rep at the distribution office, mine is Phil Lacefield, he's amazing, and give him a legitimate reason why you need to change that pre-order. What that does, that war box does, is it holds us accountable.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot.
So make a decision already. Get in I don't care which lane you're in, right or left, but get in one and drive there. So I want Wingspan, right? I want 10 copies of Wingspan because 5 of them are pre-ordered and I want 5 copies from my store. So what I'm having to do right now is I'm having to order 5 from here, 5 from here, 5 from here, 5 from here, and please don't send me 5, everybody. Because I'm kind of betting
101.
because it's Stonemeyer and they're amazing that I'm going to get 1 from everybody. I'll get my 5, maybe 2. I'll get my 10. At least my special orders covered. But it's this gamble. Why am I having to gamble? This is simple. I order it. You send it to me.
Yeah, right.
What's the big deal? But I understand them. I empathize with their point of view. We are going to put in the order, and we're not going to get everything we ordered. But what if everybody did a war box and they said, look, we have hardcore commitments from our retailers that they are going to buy this many games.
Right.
Come on, Stonemeyer, give us that many games. And if they could report that to Stonemeyer ahead of time, so admittedly, I am not on that side of the industry, so I don't know everything there, but it seems like it would make it easier because people could not then go in and change their pre-orders and say, I was going to order 50. Oh, guess what? I'm only ordering 10 now. And you guys are going to get stuck with this game that you don't know how well it's going to do. So I think Golden's got it right. I think everybody should have the ward box. It hurt at first. I learned my lesson the hard way. I got things that I changed my mind on. But I've learned my lesson.
But if everybody was in that system, it would work, I think, beautifully. Right? Because all we're looking for is certainty.
That's right.
That's fair.
Commitment, accountability.
Because our customers are looking for certainty. If I pre-order this from you, I want to know that I can get it. Because that's a tough conversation to have. It's never good. And then we want to say to distributors, we want certainty that we'll get the copies that we are pre-ordering and stocking for our store. And the distributors want to go to publishers and say, we want certainty that we're going to get the copies of your game that we want. And as long as that were stable throughout the entire chain, it'd be great. But so much of it breaks down in the kind of we can change this and we can change that and our numbers are adjusting and now this video came out and so now demand is huge and we went in at the last second kind of things. So hopefully we can continue having these conversations and I didn't realize that Golden was operating in that way, and that's really encouraging to hear.
It is. They're great.
I hope that more of that continues to happen across the industry. And
well, as you know, poop rolls downhill.
Yeah.
And I think what
I've heard,
retailers might be thinking as they're listening to us talk about this suggestion is, no, because what if my customer changes their mind?
Yeah.
So guess what? It rolls downhill. That means you have to make your customers accountable and committed, which means make them pay for it ahead of time.
Right. Consistency.
Problem solved.
All the way through. Very fascinating. Well, thank you so much, Brenda. This has been an awesome conversation.
May I just say before we log off
Sure.
that you and Zach and your whole team at Team Covenant have been such an inspiration to us. It is the reason why we're getting ready to start our own YouTube channel, different than yours, a different focus, but still something we've been watching you guys since the beginning, and we're just so proud of y'all.
That's so amazing.
You've come
Thank
so
you.
far, and we're super proud of you. We want to come by and visit your store in Tulsa.
Thank you so much. Well, if we're in San Antonio, we'll absolutely stop by.
You better.
And anyone else who is in San Antonio or around San Antonio, where would they need to go to find Night Watch online and in person?
So online, go to www.nightwatchgames.com. On Facebook, you can find us, Night Watch Games. Make sure to put a K in front of the night and no S at the end. The people from Game of Thrones called us. We told them they could use Night's Watch, but ours is just singular Night Watch. So you can go there. We have all of our events, everything, all of our schedule online, both Facebook and not, for those people who don't want to do Facebook. So you can find us easily. We're also in the same city that hosts PAX South. So that's a great reason for you to go to San Antonio, check out our Riverwalk, and then swing by and hang out with us, open till midnight every night.
I love the Riverwalk also. Thank you all out there so much for watching us. And Brenda is one of the, recipients of the Power Retail Award for Outstanding Store. So congrats to Night Watch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. And until next time, keep playing.